r/askreddit. What did you think you were really good at until you saw someone who was actually really good at it? My dad likes gardening and loves his plumeria. He has about 30. He recently found a local plumeria club on Facebook and went to a meetup. He was the only one there with less than 100. My mother has stopped complaining about him having too many plumeria. I just picture your dad as that otter holding a little guitar meme. Ping pong. I made the mistake of playing an old guy that hangs out at one of the bars and he fucking wrecked me. It wasn't even close. He returned all of my best serves effortlessly and would put the craziest spin on all of his shots. He gave me good advice afterwards and told me I play too fast for my own good. I bought him a drink and shamefully went back to my friends. Me too. The guys in my dorm freshman year would play pretty darn competitive ping pong every single night. We all got really good, and I was one of the best. I guess word got out that our dorm was a good place to play ping pong, so we started getting people come from all over campus. One night, this one guy came that absolutely dominated all of us. Balls flying like bananas, balls spinning sideways off the table. It was just ridiculous. I remember he beat me 21-4, and I played really well for myself. When I studied in China the first time I had a host family. My host mom would decimate me while smoking a cigarette and chatting to her friends. I thought I was the shit till I joined a lunch ping pong club at school. First time there I got smashed probably 60 times. I thought I was pretty good at Tetris. People who saw me play were quite impressed. Then I started playing Tetris 99. Turns out I'm not that good. Holy same, I played on a computer website and got a high score of 3 million, then looked up the high score on the website. It was like 500 million. Still pretty good at Tetris, not pro level though. I began piano lessons at an early age, 5, and my parents and my teacher made me believe I was some kind of fabulous child prodigy. I later found out I was merely a worm compared to real pianists. But I did enjoy playing the piano, so there's that. There's a ton of studies which dictate that praising your kids' hard work, praising your kids' skills, keeps them practicing and doesn't make them believe they are somehow way better than others due to some innate ability, etc. Or something. Okay, bye. I am a better whistler than maybe 98% of the population, but compared to a world-class whistler I sound like a corpse fart. Edit. Holy crud. I need to come back to this when I'm not drunk. Corpse Fart is my new band name. I got dibs. Skiing. Thought I was the quickest of the quick, craving perfect parallel lines, living my life on the edge. Nope. Ski team was by me when I thought I was going fast. Turns out, I'm just a buffoon on 2 planks now plowing around ungracefully. In 2015 for spring break took my daughter to Sugarloaf in Maine. US National Ski Championships were held that week. We were on the slopes with members of US National Ski Team. A typical recreational skier may go 20 miles per hour on a steep slope. Racers warming up for events would pass you going 60 miles per hour on those slopes. Amazing to watch, and humbling too. 8 ball and 9 ball. I had a table at home and would practice while watching TV. No one could beat me. In college I'd play a $1 a ball. Everyone owed me money. Then I played someone that regularly entered tournaments. I was lucky if I got to shoot because he was running the table every game. Friends of mine had a pool table in their apartment and thought they were pretty good. They were out at a bar with tables and there was an older guy playing alone, but only using one arm to shoot. They asked him why and he said, "It's too easy with both arms," and they watched him run the table twice without missing a shot. Table tennis. We had a table at work, and so I started playing anytime I could, with whoever I could. I'd played a little when I was a kid, so picked it back up quickly and started getting half decent. Eventually, I started playing with one co-worker fairly regularly. He was good, no doubt. At first he was clearly just volleying with me, not actually putting it away when he'd get the chance. This made it more fun for me to be sure, and offered me great practice. Anyway, after about a year, I'd gotten to the point where I could cream everybody I'd play with ease, except him. And our games had elevated drastically, to the point of all out smashing the ball back and forth standing 10 feet away from the table. And I actually started winning some games every now and then. I was ecstatic. Well, one day, after losing a pretty heated game to me, and me being just a little bit pompous about it, my table tennis buddy co-worker pulls a total Inigo Montoya on me, flips the paddle from his left hand, which he 100% consistently used when playing against me, into his right and says to me, "You know I'm right-handed, right?" I did not. Nor did I ever win another game against him. The part that I love about this is that he started out playing against you with his left hand, one day waiting for that "I'm not left-handed" payoff. And he must have felt so good delivering that line. Programming. Learned a lot in college and at my first job. I switched based on my skills, came to new company, met my senior who is incredibly talented and realized I have a long way to go. For a long time it was hard for me to even realize what separated a fantastic programmer from an adequate one. Even when I was working with other programmers. There are obviously some basic fundamentals. You need to know the quirks of the language you're working in and how to use it. You need an understanding of data and code structures and where they work best. You need to have a consistent and robust organizational structure to your code so that it's easy to expand the functionality of it later on. And you need to develop so many other small skills. Just getting to that point can take years of working in a language, but it always seemed like once you had a good grasp of those fundamentals, that was all there really was. You were essentially equipped to solve any problem you could understand as well as anyone else. Then later I actually met someone who I would consider a fantastic programmer, and it really is amazing the difference. It's not that they use extremely complex structures in their code or that they write code which is somehow lean and simplified down to its fundamentals. More, it's just very efficient. Wherever possible they fall back onto some aspect of the language to make their job easier, and as a result are able to write high quality code which they tap out so quickly and consistently it almost seems like a train of thought. As well, they were just incredibly easy to talk to about the subject and had an explanation ready for every decision they'd made and why they thought it was best. It's really incredible just how skilled some people are. Guitar Hero. I never met anyone who could beat me. Then I saw a dude on YouTube 100% bark at the moon with his back to the screen and I'm done. I had a friend who was an overall shitty dude. Obnoxious, rude, selfish, and a big baby. Turns out he's incredible at video games and also a good musician. He's made music that regularly got tens of thousands of views with no advertising and no connections. He won first a major US citywide Guitar Hero competition and has been Grandmaster on Overwatch. But again, dude was really self-centered and not in the "I'm better than you" way, but just like eats all the appetizers at a party or crashed parties or asked for stuff constantly when he was busy. Borrowed things without asking, not stealing because he would bring them back. And specifically I remember sleeping over at his house as a kid and he wouldn't let me play any games with him, and when it was bedtime, he had me sleep on the floor and literally gave me his pants to cover up with as a blanket. Just really stupid, childish. Haven't spoken to him in years. But he would shred you in any game. Edit. Before anyone mentions autism again, please see the 50+ comments of people who said that before you got here. I don't know if he had autism. Doesn't sound like it to me. I understand what a spectrum is and I'm not 100% sure as I didn't study autism as my life's work. As a 23-year-old birder, it's humbling to be beside a retired 70-plus-year-old who can see birds where none seem to be. And identify them. The human ability for subconscious pattern recognition is truly amazing. You'll get there, it just takes time. I've come to the realization that I'm very mediocre at a lot of things. I can do most anything, just not well. Math. I'm a theoretical physicist, and I always felt I was pretty good at math in undergrad. Then I met the professor I'm working for right now. One of my life goals is to become at least 3/4 as good at theoretical physics as he is. Then I met Ted Whitten. Then I read some papers by Freeman Dyson. Damn. It's so crazy how high the math ceiling goes. You prove an elegant solution, then find a paper that does that plus uses that to prove 80 different things, all in notation that is as foreign to me as Russian. Math is fun. Drawing and painting. A huge part of being an artist is the near constant beatings your confidence takes. I used to teach high school art, and those kids were amazing. They should have been teaching me. Props to you for being able to admit that students can be better. I've heard stories of teachers doing all they can to crush talent just because they're jealous. Driving. Everyone thinks they're a good driver. Sit along with a professional driver as they go through a course, and then try to do the same? So humbling. As a professional driver, I can't tell you how many times people in high school jabbed and poked at me to street race against them. I always turned it down because you spend your childhood at a racetrack and you learn how dangerous an idiot behind the wheel can be. Finally, one summer I got fed up with it and invited the usual suspects to a local karting track that had shifter kart rentals available. I told them if they beat me, I'd cover their rentals for the night, not cheap, and buy them dinner on the drive back. They were obviously thrilled to take the bet. Before the 8 or so minute race had ended, I had lapped them both twice and smashed the monthly track record by a good 2 seconds. Not going to lie, it felt really good. Edit. I definitely didn't expect this to get any traction at all. I've got a big work day tomorrow so I can't really respond to everyone, but thank you so much for the silver. When I was in 5th grade, I didn't really have any friends, was bullied, picked last for sports, etc. At recess and at home, I started running because I wanted to be good at it. It went on for a few months and I had convinced my little 10-year-old mind that I was a superb runner and super fast. One day in PE they basically had us race each other. I got put up against these two popular girls that were best friends and I just knew that this was my moment and all my work was going to pay off and people will like me. Spoiler alert, they fucking smoked me. Edit. Thanks to whoever gave me my first award. I haven't felt this validated since before those girls beat me at running. Playing guitar. I'm good enough to impress normal people, but I could never reach the level of a professional musician. Having played guitar for over 20 years and performing both as a hobby and as a profession at different times in my life, I'll let you in on a secret. There is no best guitar player. Guitar can be approached from a million angles with a million different goals in mind. No two guitar players have the same approach. What makes a great guitar player is someone who can entertain people. If you can stay in time, have decent tone, and play good music, people will love you. If you are super fast and technical, no one will care except other guitar players. If being super fast and technical is your goal, that's fine. Go for it. But don't expect anyone to care except other guitarists. Have great tone and play good songs with a solid band, people will think you're amazing. Even if you're playing simple stuff. Bonus points if you can play just enough lead licks for non-guitarists to think you can really well. There are tons and tons of professional guitarists making a living from it who aren't as good as you. Trust me. Edit. Okay, well I can't respond to everyone, so I'm gonna just do a quick edit here. First, I found all the technical guitar players on Reddit. Yes, guys, I know that there are non-guitarists who enjoy Steve Vai and Dragon Force and Yngwie Malmsteen. Yes, I'm aware that death metal and flamenco guitar are both highly demanding styles and lots of people enjoy them. Yes, I used a little hyperbole in saying no one cares but other guitarists. Settle down. Technical shredders are great. I love them, but they play to a much more narrow audience than most major musical genres. Let's be realistic here. Second, I did not mean to imply that you should just go out and play Wonderwall and Last Dance with Mary Jane because people like it and that'll make you a good guitarist. My point was that there are lots of ways to be good, and people will, in general. I know there are exceptions. Please don't tell me about all of them. Respond more positively to whatever music you are playing if you have passion and soul in it. Aspiring guitarists of Reddit, my advice to you is to play what you love, and put your soul into it. Express yourself through your instrument. Don't just mechanically repeat the notes, play the damned guitar. Let it be your voice. Let it say the things you can't get your mouth to say. Anyways, here's Wonderwall. Bedroom musicians unite. I think I'm a pretty solid writer. Every now and then I read a novel that just makes me think, well, I love you. But also fuck you a little bit. Fighting. I won a shit ton of amateur MMA bouts and a few professional, but then I met someone who beat the fucking brakes off of me for like 3 rounds and then choked my ass out. Turns out, I am pretty okay at it, but I am no world champion lol. I would love to hear answers to the inverse of this question. where someone didn't think much of their prowess but turned out champions. In college I had to do community service at an elementary school and I used to absolutely annihilate kids at basketball. When I was 11 I played a shit ton of Mario Kart. We always thought I was just okay because I didn't have a sibling to play with and there was no online play. After like a month of having the game and my friends would come over, I would torch them. When online came out, I was top 50 in the world and the highest ranked using the actual wheel. Everyone else above me was on a GameCube controller. At one point I thought I was pretty savvy in Excel since I was the best at it out of the people I knew. Well, then I meet someone who really knew how to use Excel and realized that I really only knew the basics. I thought I was exceptionally smart because I was a talented and gifted programmer in school. I was a great test taker, I got good grades, and breezed through getting my bachelor's degree. School was always pretty easy for me. Then I went to law school. Everyone was older than me, had actual life experience, and they were realty fucking smart. People would ask such thought-provoking questions. I couldn't believe we had read the same thing. I realized graduating high school and getting a bachelor's in political science at a state school wasn't genius level stuff. And I had developed absolutely zero study skills over the prior 21 years. My first year in law school hit me like a ton of bricks. But it all worked out. Video games. Every time I find a game I feel like I'm really good at, I always find a close friend that's x100 better than me in that game. Drawing. I always think I am good at it, not god level. My ego isn't that large. Then I take a look on DeviantArt and suddenly my world comes crashing down. Happens on a weekly basis at least. Lol. I learned to solve a Rubik's Cube and practiced until I could solve one in like 30 seconds. Then I saw the video of the world record at the time, which was like 4.9 seconds. That was pretty depressing for me. Hey, you're very likely still in the top 0.1% of people, if not better. Okay, I'll jump in. In my late 20s I had never lost a single game of Scrabble in my life. I have a pretty large vocabulary and a talent for pattern matching, so I was always able to come up with very long words and find high bonuses to place them on. The true Scrabble players are already laughing at me. Well, I was looking for something to do with my time and decided to try the local Scrabble club. I'll cut to the chase. I didn't win a single game. I didn't even present a challenge to a single player there. Several of them got annoyed at having to match up with someone as bad at Scrabble as me. I left that night deeply humiliated, but amazed. I never went back. What I learned that night is that championship Scrabble players do not bother hunting for 150-point mega score words. No, they kick your ass by placing 3 tiles that cross-connect to form 5 different words, 3 of which are 2-letter words, and all of which somehow share the same triple word score tile even though only 2 words can possibly use it. And they score like 226 points by laying down those 3 tiles. It's incredible. It's as much art as science. So I learned a lot about humility from that one. Scrabble isn't a word game. It's an area control game that happens to use letters as troops. Fighting games. I was the local champion until I played online. Having sex with my wife. Avoiding work. I thought I was good at it. Then I had kids. They are a whole nother level of work avoidance.